And we're back for another episode. In this episode, I'm going to be getting the Harsh Font emote. And as always, hello from Mithrie. So to get to this quest line, you need to come into House 4 Manor. And you also had to have finished the story main scenario quest, which involves finishing the vault. If you haven't done it, I won't spoil it. But yeah. But you might get spoilers in this quest line that's following up. So let's talk to the House 4 manservant. The quest is called The Paths We Walk. So deep in thought, House 4 manservant reflects upon a day not so very long ago. So 'twas bitterly cold when you first came in our city. When I stood waiting for you before the Ark of the Worthy, to think that that's where it all began. How much has changed since that day? Forgive me of late. I have been studying the works of Balathian, poet knight, who wrote, "To ye who ask of things to come, give thought to what is past and gone." So rarely we have the luxury to reflect on the choices we have made, on how they have shaped our lives and the lives of others. Even I, a mere steward whose deeds would not merit a footnote in the annals of history, can see the value in this. I say this to you, Mistress Manifil, because as you move, so too does the world. Pray space a moment to contemplate your journey while you can. So the road stretched on, obscured by an endless veil of snow. Somewhere in the white beyond stood the great iron gates, and the other side a humble manservant who awaited the coming of free travelers. So we need to go to the Jewel Groves here and talk to Elise. So let's talk to her. Now, in terms of preparation for the expansion, things I've decided to do is get everything to 60. So you can see I am very, very close to all 60. I'm like less than 2.5 levels away now. And also, I'm going to try and finish all the primals, extreme primals off. I'm going to finish off the Hildebrand quest and the Solisticate quest. I can't pronounce the word. And also as well, I think at this point I've decided what my main will be in Stormblood. We're still talking about it now on live stream and so on and stuff like that. But I will hopefully reveal soon what my main is going to be. So anyway, let's talk to Elise. A warm welcome to you, Mistress Manifil. To what do I owe the pleasure? We're on a sad journey. So, retracing the steps from those first days in Ishgard, I see. Well, no one could begrudge you for indulging in a little nostalgia. I am reminded how much I owe to you and yours. Lest you forget, foreign merchants were subject to frankly unreasonable level of scrutiny until relatively recently. Not so now, however. Now goods from every corner of Eorzea flow in our markets, and that, my friend, is change we can all appreciate. Merchants of all nations speak of a common tongue, and its words are coin. Needless to say, there is little profit to be had in prejudice, especially against those who have received the patronage of a count. Thus, when the wards of House 4 arrived, she was only too happy to make her acquaintance. It's interesting how, even though we're doing it right now, like, a lot of this is said in past tense. It's always been that way. Like, the story of us going through Heavensward is already a foregone conclusion. It's already a story. So, okay, let's go into the Forgotten Knight. And let's find... What's his name? Gibralont. Wee splat. Right. Who needs stairs, eh? When we have gravity. So, what will it be then? Ale? Mulled wine? No, don't tell me. Tea? Sadness. Oh, so it's to be memories then, is it? Now, there's a bit of drought that will leave you wanting, assuming you can remember your own name, that is. Take your friend Tataru. One moment she's just another girl waiting on customers, clearing tables and so forth, and the next she's got a dozen admirers asking after her every bloody night, and I'll be damned if I can remember how it happened. Ha 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 ha. So, singing those stupid songs, dancing those daft dances. Though, to be honest, I think it was her stories that really won him over. Stories of certain heroes, grand adventurers across Eorzea, told with flair that would put a minstrel to shame. Who doesn't love a good hero's tale, am I right? Hells, we even got one about the man who built this tavern. Was one of the founding fathers of Ishgard, or so it goes. Now, as the Enchidrion told it, besides Haldrath, the only knights who have survived the battle with Nidhogg were the founders of the High Houses. Course, these days, we all know better than to put too much stock in the words of the church, eh? But there's more to our tale than just words. There's a sword too, one which has been passed down from a proprietor since before anyone can remember. She's a rusty old bugger, but if you look closely at her hand, you can just about make out an inscription. Brothers brave and true live well, forgotten and content. A man who forsook wealth and fame and chose the life of a humble tavern keeper. It's just a tale, of course, albeit a good one. As for the truth, who can say, friend, who can say? So he knew everyone's story, although he never he would never share his own. An optimist, he wanted to believe in the best in people. Sometimes that faith would be rewarded, other times betrayed, but he would listen regardless, and he would hope. Cool. So let's carry on. So now we need to go to Camp Cloudtop and Sea of Clouds. Let's go. Okay, let's carry on. Let's carry on. Q. Oh yeah, I got the Chiron mount, as you saw in the previous episode. I'm really happy that I got out of the way. And it does fly, as you can see. And it plays the Final Fantasy I main theme, which is amazing. Definitely worth farming for. I wish it was more colourful than just bright yellow, but whatever. Can't complain. Okay, let's talk to this lady. So, Mistress Manaphyl, I was but this moment thinking of you. I had hoped to speak with you at Sir Amaric's investiture, but circumstances conspired to prevent me from attending. Mayhap you will allow me to say now what I could not say then. On behalf of House Hullenart and all of Ishgard, I offer unto you my deepest and most humble thanks. You risked your life to stand against our sworn enemy, and freed us from a millennium of torment. Though we can never hope to repay you, we will ever remember you and your deeds, that our children and their children's children might know the woman whom they owe their lives. Bow. So, I concede that the grand investiture would have been a more fitting occasion for such words, but I could not risk them being left unspoken. What brings you this way? As you can see, Camp Cloudtop remains much the same as it did during the war, though we need no longer watch the skies for Dravanian outflyers. The Vanu have proven themselves similarly worthy of our attention. So, I say, Ogol, you have the most uncanny ability to appear whenever I least expect you. So, but enough about that. Honoroit, sorry. So, yes, my lord. Lady Lene, I am pleased to report that we have succeeded in infiltrating Vundu territory, and there observed the beastmen harvesting crystals at several different sites. Based on the volume of crystals acquired during our period of surveillance, I have prepared an estimate of how much time I believe it will take the Vundu to gather sufficient crystals for another summoning. I have also taken the liberty of drafting several proposals outlining how the Rose Knights might prevent such an eventuality, such as raiding these sites and securing their stores, as well as detailed assessments of risks involved should you choose to proceed. By the Fury, I gathered you were clever, but I was not aware that you were capable of this. With respect, you are wasted on your master. Hard-working, full of potential. I think there is a place for you here, with the Rose Knights, if you would have it. That you would even consider me taking into your service is a tremendous honor, my lady, and were I free to do so, I shall gladly accept, but I am pledged to another, as you well know. Regrettably, but understandable. Regrettable, understandable. I have comfort in the fact that a youth of your talent and character will never want for opportunities. So pledge to another, you rascal. I thought I saw you whispering in young Solette's ear the other day. You certainly wasted no time wooing our newest maid. There'll be no secrets between us. You must tell me everything. Where have you been sneaking off to together? What adventures you've been having? Every little detail. And don't you dare leave anything out. Okay. So I am sure he will not. In any event, you have jointly exceeded my expectations. I grant you leave to return to the city. Should the need arise, I shall call upon you again. Thank you, my lady. I believe we shall do as you suggest. Until we meet again, Mistress Manifil. So, not so fast. The next airship is due isn't due for another hour, and we have so much to talk about. Honoroy? Honoroy. Bye. So for all the ladies' disdain, it was an old familiar dance. To her, Lord Emanelaine would always be the boy fumbling for a compliment, and perhaps there was comfort in that, a memory of home on the bleak frontier. Interesting. So now let's go to Falcon's Nest. Let's do it. Man, I remember when the game first came out, and I was actually concerned that the teleports were too expensive. I wonder if they'll ever release a census to say how much gil has actually been spent on teleporting. Here's Redwald. Let's talk to him. So, 1,000 pardons, Mistress Manifil. Had I known you were planning to pay us a visit, I would have seen that you received a proper reception. A feast, perhaps, or at least formal welcome with the men in full dress. You have more than earned it. One need only look to the pilgrims who come in their droves to pray before the relief to see... Is that even English? One need only look to the pilgrims who come in their droves to pray before the relief to see the truth of that. Okay, that's English. So some abide in silence while others shed tears. Not for sorrow, you understand, but for joy. Joy at being released from Nidhogg's torment. So, Sir Redwald, the shipment has been unloaded, and the quartermaster confirms that all supplies are accounted for. Mistress Manifil, are you here on official business? Sad. A journey to remember and reflect. Aye, much has changed since first we came here, since I abandoned you to follow the heretic's trail alone. So come, my lord, mayhap you recall the survivor whom you carried back to Falcon's Nest that day. Well, his wife but recently gave birth to their first child. Is that so? Well, mayhap I should pay him a visit. Though he would doubtless be honoured, my lord, you need not put yourself to such trouble. Your responsibilities as Count surely leave little enough time as it is. Think not of it. I am still me, and you are still you. Whatever our responsive titles, I would speak to you as a friend. This preoccupation with position and power has sown no end of discord between our two houses, and to the great detriment of our nation. 'Tis especially galling when one considers that much of what we have achieved was by virtue of our blood, not our character. So call me Count if you must, but know that I take no pride in it. Mayhap one day when I have earned it I will, but not today. Bow. So, still himself, is he? So, an honourable man, mindful of tradition, he was loath to accept the assistance of a foreigner in exile, but when forced to confront bitter truths, he looked within and found himself wanting. Pride be damned then, if it lead one astray, he would set aside his prejudices and join hands with this gifted outcast for greater good of Ishgard. Epic. Cool. So now we need to go to the pillars. So to the tribunal. Okay, so let's teleport back. Oops. Sorry, let's just teleport back to Foundation. And then we'll go to the tribunal. Okay, so let's go to the tribunal. Let's go. Let's do it. Okay, it's a destination. So, 2 foreign heretics against 2 knights of Heavensward. Under the watchful gaze of the Fury, they would fight and the winner's claims would be proven true. It was the opening gambit of a greater game whose strikes would remain unknown for some time. Cool. So now let's visit the Hoplon. It's just outside. Let's go. In case you're wondering, the mask I'm wearing is from finishing Friends Forever, which is from finishing all of the Beast Tribes in A Realm Reborn. So before the expansion. So you are Mistress Menethil, am I not mistaken? We have met, though I am sure you do not remember. 'Twould be seeming a lifetime ago when you answered the Archbishop's summonings. I often come here to reflect upon all that has come to pass, and when I saw you gazing at the Holy Vault, I thought perhaps you had too. You turned our world upside down, everything we held dear, for change, for the truth. They say it had to be done, that His grace saw godhood. If so, then perhaps it was the Fury's will that you prevail. But to say it, to believe it, I know that no man is without sin, but he was pious and humble, wholly devoted to the church and to his people. I knew him, miss, he was a good man. Whatever else he may have been, I remember him as a good man. So, To walk the righteous path, to live for the sake of others, to rise to the highest station, yet remains powerless to bring an end to your people's suffering. What price salvation then? What sacrifice beyond reason for uneasy lies the head that wears a crown? Cool. Cool. So now we have to go to Limza La Minza. This is quite a journey. I didn't expect it to be this detailed. Sorry, I realised that my mic was muted for all of that. Just pretend I read it out. So, thank the navigator. I had resigned myself to another day spent listening to my advisors prattle on about the Beastman's latest movements. Come, Mithrie, tell me your adventures. So this is professional recording when you mute your own mic mid-recording. So the Ishgardians sail in uncharted waters, so I had hoped these new reforms of theirs meet with no resistance. It would not be the first grand voyage to run afoul of reefs ere it properly began. But with Sir Aymeric at the helm, they may yet chart a course for generations to follow. Which is not to say which is not to say our own doesn't need correcting. The alliance has grown complacent. The bloody rose you gave us at the melee showed me that. Nor have I forgotten the lessons of the banquet. Rest assured, we will not root out any further turncoats before the dagger is at our back. You have my word on that, and Lady Ugiri's besides. So she had never been one to retreat, much less in the face of transparent theatrics. But this has been no ordinary battlefield. Its rules of engagement anything but clear. She would watch and she would learn, and in time she would act. Cool. So let's go to Revenant's Toll. Oh, okay. I actually have to be level 60 for this quest. Interesting. So, I don't know if I have any level 60 classes. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, so I'll go to one of my level 60 classes. I happen to pick the only class which isn't level 60. Lol. Okay, so let me go to my warrior. Whether I'll actually finish the relic before the expansion is yet to be seen. My relic is only 230. So, yeah. I'm still on the Umbright phase. Oh yeah, guys, level your crafting if you want to be able to repair your gear on the fly. I wonder if this person... Let's go. Aha. So, Mistress Menethil, sorry, Mistress Mithrie, I should say, is aught amiss? I am both flattered and surprised that you should remember my small role in this tale, given the grandeur of your subsequent endeavours. Though I must confess to having derived some selfish pleasure from donning the garments of Shinobi once more, I am honored to have been able to assist in freeing General Roban from his captivity. So, and I believe I speak for all my countrymen when I say that we are most grateful to have been granted the opportunity to contribute to the restoration of the Scions. Much has changed, it is true, but much may never be as it once was. But in watching you and yours rise from the ashes and rebuild, I am reminded that we must never give in to despair, for there is always something which may yet be saved. Cool, let's complete that quest. Next quest is called The Oaths We Swear. Prevention was ever better than cure, as Hugiri knows only too well. So, will you be traveling to Uldar next? If so, I would ask a favor of you. I have prepared a special unguent to aid in General Roban's rehabilitation. Injuries such as his must be tended to daily, even long after they are healed. You only need deliver it to his man, Commander Swift. He will see that the Flame General receives it. Okay. So let's go. Let's go to Uldar. Boom, boom, boom. Let's do it. So Commander Swift is usually just hanging out at the Eternal Flames headquarters, which is literally like right there. So, yeah. Don't walk in the puddle. There is Commander Swift. So, greetings, Mithrie. What is that you have there? So, let's hand over the Doman Unguent. Containing a variety of ground herbs and natural oils, the recipe for this traditional medicine has been passed down for generations. Unguent, I was not aware the general required this stuff, and one of our Doman friends made this for him, did she? Very well, I shall be sure to pass it on. Actually, wait here. We have just the moment concluded a meeting, and I expect he would be glad to speak with you before returning to the palace. Now talk to Roban. So, Commander Swift tells me that you came all the way to deliver the unguent. So, daily, she says, well, maybe it is best to be prudent. The gods alone know why you agreed to deliver it to her, though. So, unless you mean to favor me with that rematch I requested. Serious face. So, I jest, lass. You are on a journey of reflection, are you not? Merlib said that as much, and now you want to relive the moment you pulled me from the pit. Ilberd left me in to rot. So it shames me to think of it, that I was so blind to his hatred. Lorito tells me that I was not always so, that Ilberd admitted to him he once believed that I would return to Alamigo as the head of the army, sort of thing. Sorry. So, but years passed and I did nothing. For all accomplishments, for all my wealth, power and influence, I did naught to better the plight of my people. Not that for the lack of trying, but Ilberd didn't know. He thought the bull of Alamigo had grown fat and complacent, that my story set a bad example for our countrymen. Forget your homeland and chase the olden dream. A fine, impossible dream which gave men the strength to endure their hardships and tried to make new lives for themselves here. So the dream had to die. He would kill me, stir up the delusioned, arm them at the monetarist expense, and then Forgive me. The Scions paid the price for my failings. The gods know I have no shortage of debts to repay, of vows to keep and duties to discharge. But mark me well, lass, there will be a reckoning. Mayhap not today, mayhap not tomorrow, but a reckoning there will be. A refugee of a fallen nation, he had risen from the depths of poverty to claim a seat on the syndicate. Yet for all his great deeds, one was left undone. And like sands, though an hourglass, the years slipped away, taking with them an old friend's hope. It's amazing that I didn't even know this quest existed. I didn't realize it was such a huge quest. Okay, so let's go to the Western Highlands. So let's fly from Falcon's Nest. And one thing I actually have done, I've gone through pretty much every single zone in Heavensward, and I've looked for every single quest. The reason I missed this one is because it was inside a building. Simple as that. I didn't see it on the world map. So I'll be more cautious of that come the expansion. And I will try before Stormblood to go through every zone in the game and make sure I've done every quest. Every single one. I think a lot of the quests I'm missing in Revenant's Toll are the different primals, basically, and all the extreme versions of the primals as well. This mountain is epic. Thankfully as well, like, doing the primals now is really easy. The only one that's... The ones that are difficult or require some management are Leviathan and Ifrit. And the only reason why is because you can't smash them. Like Titan, you can smash as hard as you like. Garuda the same. Ramu the same. To a degree. Though with Ramu, you have to stop when the ads spawn and kill all the ads. But that's it. Whereas Leviathan and Ifrit, you really have to control yourself. Otherwise, he will just instantly wipe the group. So, yeah. And eventually I will farm all the birds as well. Okay, here we go. So, by the Fury, is that Mistress Menethil? Forgive me, but what reason could you possibly have for returning to this godforsaken place? So, mayhap it is fate which brings you here on this day of introspection and reflection. We are come to Gargani's Mills to accept the surrender of half a dozen heretics who once fought for Lady Iceheart. If you are intending to visit the cellars, I would ask that you do nothing to unsettle them. Cool. So let's go in. We actually went into this place during the main story. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it yourself. Wow. It's very pretty, this game. That's the thing I love about this game. It is just, for an MMO, it's absolutely beautiful. I don't know any MMO that has graphics better than this. Anyway, let's talk to the heretics. So, wait, I know you. You were at the amphitheater with the Dragon Slayer. I suppose we owe you an apology. When you came to us seeking to parley, we were sure it was a scheme to lure out our lady. We were sure about a lot of things. When she first shared her revelation, when she told us she was not Saint Shiva reborn, we assumed it was a test. For had we not prayed for salvation, had she not descended to deliver us from evil? She replied to our prayers. Our prayers were but fuel for a fever dream, a construct born of desperation and denial. She was no savior, she said. But when we marched upon Ishgard regardless, she pulled us from the brink of oblivion and implored us to find another way. And here we are, ready to lay down our arms at last. It's time. So, she considered you a friend. Had things been different, mayhap she could have been friends too. Farewell. We could have been friends too. Farewell. So, forsaken by gods and men, they found the salvation in a revelation. They would take up arms against their own kind to set ancient wrongs right, to cut out Ishgard's festering heart, and war would be over. This they knew, believed with all their being, until their savior told them their efforts would be for naught. Okay, so now let's go to the Convictory. I am happy Heavensward is coming to an end, but at the same time, yeah, I was running on this land, you know, exploring this thing for, you know, what's it called? For years. We've been in this expansion for 2 years now. So, you know, I'm happy it's over, but I will miss it. I will miss it. I miss the Realm Reborn. I miss the Realm Reborn. I do miss this one. So, yeah. But hopefully Stormblood will just increase the adventure. And one piece of advice I will give to all my viewers and everyone around that plays this game: don't make a bunch of mediocre characters. Make one character and make it epic. That is the best advice I've ever received when playing MMOs, and that's one I'm sticking to. No one can deny that Mithrie is not epic. Mithrie is known, I guess at this point, worldwide. So make one character, make it epic. Okay, here's Jantalot. So, well, if it isn't the great warrior of light herself, she who slew the dreadworm Nidhogg, bringing an end to 1,000 years of war, and my very livelihood. So, well, go on then. Strike me down and finish the job. Stab me right in the heart. I'll even lend you my spear if you like. After all, I won't be bloody needing it. Tell me true. For a moment I had fooled you. Ye gods, as if I could hate the woman who did rid us of Nidhogg. Oh, and lest you worry, that business about me losing my livelihood couldn't have been further from the truth. In point of fact, peace is proving surprisingly lucrative. As our nation's ties with Heavensward's brood have grown stronger, and our interest in Dravania have begun to expand, we have seen a marked increase in the number of travelers on the road. Needless to say, said travelers require our protection, which we are only too happy to provide. Granted, such work will not earn you a lordship like slaying a dragon might, but it pays me well and far less prone to end in incineration, which seem a reasonable enough compromise, all things considered. As long as there are wars to fight, there will be those who take up arms out of hatred and even a sense of duty, but for want of better employment, when presented with an alternative, such individuals may gladly trade their swords for scythes, and failing that, pledge them to a more worthy cause. Cool. So now we need to go to Tailfeather. So it's amazing how one quest can turn into all of this traveling, all of this whatever. See, Risty is stalking me around the game while I'm recording this episode. Hi, Risty. Right. Okay, let's go into Tailfeather. I'm assuming into here. So, something the matter, lass. Gnaf giving you trouble? So, a journey of remembrance, eh? Gods, it feels like only yesterday that Ysayle turned up in Tailfeather with you in tow. Back into our lives and gone all too soon. Did I ever tell you how we found her? 5 years back, in a topor out of the forest, all by her lonesome. We weren't about to leave her there, so we carried her back here and attended to her till she woke up. Didn't say a word for days, Ysael. Just sat there and stared up at the sky, as if the ground held nothing for her. And it didn't, we learned, when she finally spoke. Now, you might think she's not one to smile, but if you'd seen her in those years that followed, then one day, all of a sudden, she said she's got a truth that must be shared. Up and leaves for God knows where, and that was the last we heard of her for a time. Redemption's not beyond us, friends. Come and hear the truth. Come and hear the Lady Iheart speak. And they did, far and wide, or so the story went. Some said that there was nothing in it, but I knew. I think, Mithrie, that deep down, most folk want to do right by themselves and by others. And they try, how they try. You do certainly, and so did she, okay? I don't know why I'm finding it so hard to read this quest text. So, the next quest, the legacies we leave. Marchamp would see you on your way. So, apologies you came here to think of your own memories and not listen to mine. I take it the NAF next. Right then, if we're to do this properly, you need to gather your incentives, same as before. In case you've forgotten, that's a basket of fresh callum tree fruit, a good-sized jar of lantrop nectar, and a dirty grey cartload of young nankut flesh. Ha, come on, lass. Surely you can't be that bloody daft. You're more than welcome in their village already. Safe travels. Yeah. Thankfully, we don't have to do a quest. We're already, like, allied with them. So, yeah. Record this quest, Mithrie. You will do it in 5 to 15 minutes, Mithrie. Lies, Mithrie. Okay. But it is nice to explore. It is nice to see other parts of the game. And I feel this is a significant quest. I don't record everything. It'll take forever otherwise. So, Hunter of Dragons and Gods, I bid you welcome. What would you ask of me this day? So, once we would have no conception of what you speak, the one mind do not forget, but we do. It can be most distressing. To remember is not enough. One must strain and give words to memory, and inscribe words upon parchment. This is the Chronicle's calling. He wrote of how you came to Lothar Vast, and how you left to slay Ravana, and how the young hunter trained the old hunter while you were away. We shall treasure these memories, this history you have given us, and when new Vath join us, we shall share it with them as well. So, bound no longer to the will of many, they were now free to walk their own path. Thus reborn, they would write the first chapter of a new history to be passed to future generations. As their culture grew older and richer, so too would their story. Cool. Next, let's go to Annex Shrine. Like I said, I didn't know. I just didn't know that this was such a long quest. Cool. Next. Vidofnir, I believe, is the floor above us. Okay, here's Vidofnir. Friend of Ysael, warriors of warriors. Thou art ever welcome in Annex Shrine. What bringeth thee to us this day? There is much wisdom to be gained from looking to the past, to walk half-remembered paths, to mark anew their twists and turns. We too do this, though not through pilgrimage, nor less the written word beloved of thy historians. In song do we preserve the deeds of our lost and chronicle the passing of our ages. Nor hath greater power to stir our hearts. 'Twas a dirge of profoundest sadness that roused Nidhogg's brood to action, a dirge which soundeth no more. Now a new song riseth to fill the void, one of hope rekindled, one of war's end and peace's rebirth. I shall sing of thee and your sails ever after, that we may know and remember. So in the chorus, the fallen could rise once more. If none are dead, though whose names yet echo in the heavens, and the song would not end until the last voice fell silent. Heroes and villains, sinners and saints, all would live together. Or live again, I should say. I can read. Okay, let's go to Mogholm. Let's talk to Moglin. I think the only zones we haven't now visited are like Dravani and Hinterlands and Aziz La. Okay, let's carry on. It's amazing I missed this quest. I didn't even know it existed until my viewers pointed it out. See what Moglin has to say. So, well, yank my palm and call me a molebat. I certainly wasn't expecting to see you today. Still calling yourself Mithrie. Not that there's anything wrong with that, Kupo. Anyway, what are you doing here? Thank heavens for that. I was sure you were going to ask for help with yet another one of your irks. Exciting quests. But by all means, we'd love you to pass the time reminiscing about the good old days. And when better than now, Kupo? What with your friends visiting and all? Wait here and I'll fetch them. Oh, here she is. So, full glad I am to see you again, Mithrie, and in Mogholm of all places. Kupo, it's really you, and just when we were about to leave. So I think it's wonderful, this pilgrimage of yours, a final reflection upon the past, that you might face the future with eyes unclouded and a heart at peace. Few would deny that the events of recent days warrant such contemplation. When the last we stood in this place, I dare say none amongst our number would have believed what was to follow. Young Justinian least of all. Upon learning what befell him at Aziz La, I confess I thought him lost. But when Master Alphanode told me of your great struggle and of his salvation, I was reminded of your talent for the impossible. If you ask me, he seemed altogether too stubborn to die, though I suppose it is no small feat to evict a spite-filled worm once it has made its home in one's head. With Nidhogg's passing, the children of Ishgard and Rivania may at last look to the future. It is my hope, however, that they will not forget the deeds of history, nor the many thousands of lives lost in their conflict, for only through remembrance will they avoid the mistakes of the past. We thank you again for your hospitality, Chieftain Moglin, and pray that you will one day allow us to extend you the same courtesy. I wish you well on your journey, Mithrie. May you ever walk in light of the crystal. Until we meet again, Kupo. Because that's the leader of all the city-states. Even in the farthest reaches of distant, dangerous lands, one may chance upon a friendly face. Though given to mischief and largely unconcerned by the troubles of the outside world, they came to understand Ishgard's plight and agreed to lend their aid, eventually that is. Cool. So now let's go to... Let's teleport to Zenith and then let's fly southeast. As I say, I was not expecting this quest. It's kind of nice in a way that they added it in. If anything, it's like a great quest to bring Heavensward to an end. Okay, so let's fly. The sky in Churning Mist was always really cool, even though Churning Mist itself is very barren. Okay, let's go. The cracking warmth of Alphinaud's campfire, the savoury waft of Ysael's bubbling stew, the soft snoring of Mogan asleep in the grass. A cold wind blew that night as well, and on the morrow they mounted the steps and blew the horn. But having climbed to the summit with hope in their hearts, they descended dejected, weighed down by truths too grim to contemplate. We are recalling the whole story. Okay. Let's go back to Uldar. I guess we have to meet with Nanamo, don't we? Okay, so let's go back to Uldar. Hopefully Uldar is one of my free teleports. Okay, so let's go to the Royal Promenade. I can't remember which one is the quickest way to get there. Chamber of Rule. Okay. Let's do it. Got a lot of history in these halls. If you've seen the end of A Realm Reborn, you know what I'm talking about. So you there, over here quickly. Interesting. So I should have known you would see through my disguise. But enough talk. We cannot linger here, lest the guards recognize their sultanate. Wow, she's dressed as a commoner. Interesting. So, as you may have deduced, I was taking the air outside the palace when I saw you standing there, staring off into space. Have you something on your mind? So I understand completely. So much has happened, so much has changed, when all in a short space of time. Even now I struggle to make sense of it all. But one thing at least is abundantly clear. I owe you an immense debt of gratitude for all you have done on my behalf, and on behalf of those whom I hold dear. After I awoke, Papa Shan told me everything. It was a lot to take in, but nothing could prepare me for what Lord Lolorito had to say. That ruthless, manipulative swine came before me and expressed regret for what had come to pass, and thinking to make amends, offered all of Teledeji's, I can't pronounce his name, assets, as well as half of his own personal fortune to the crown, and I accepted. Long did I debate how best to use this wealth. There is no end to the troubles facing our nation, and no shortage of worthwhile causes. Yet none among our people have suffered more Oh yeah, Talaji Ala. I can't. I used to be able to pronounce the name. I can't do it. Yet none among our people have suffered more than the refugees, and it is they who shall be first to receive aid and succor. There is also the matter of terrible wrongs committed against you and yours, for which I am in large part responsible. Nay, do not protest, it is the truth. Accordingly, I have set aside monies to aid the Scion's rebuilding, if you would have them. That would be most welcome, thank you, your grace. Mayhap it would be best if we did not. Yeah, we don't need money. We're fine, we're fine. I see. I trust you know that I would never presume to atone for my mistakes with money. I only wish to see it put to good use. Assuming you have no objections, I shall pledge the funds to the continued development of Revenant's Toll. That'll do, yeah? I don't need money, thank you. My queen. Oh, listen to me. So much for enjoying a moment's respite outside the palace walls. If it rather seems as if I have brought my responsibilities with me, I suppose I should return. Adeleji. I think that's it. So, Lady Lilira. Lady Lilira, you must come home at once. Father is worried sick, you know. Agapra, confound it. You lot searched this area. I know she came through here. On the other hand, it is essential that a ruler see firsthand how her subjects go about their daily lives, and I have not visited the markets in weeks. It would seem a shame to let this opportunity go to waste. So, Mithrie, might I impose to you to have a brief, cordial conversation with those Sultan Sworn? I leave the choice of the subject matter up to you. Take care. Bye. Cool. Right. So let's go talk to them. Okay, thankfully they're right next to us. Okay, let's talk to him. So, I beg your pardon, miss, but did you perchance see a young Lalafelian noblewoman pass this way? No, I don't know nothing. Are you certain? Oh dear, oh dear. Master Papashan said that this might happen, but I never truly believed he was serious. Okay, let's complete. Next quest is called The Triumphs We Share. The Sultan Sworn Elite sports a fatally troubled expression, as if straining to remember something important. So, wait, I know you. You're Mistress Menethil. So, what a stroke of luck. I can think of none better qualified to help us, you see. It is no mere noblewoman that we seek. But Master Papashan was most explicit about the need for secrecy. Pray forget I mentioned it. We will find the lady on her own. Lol. So, what cruel fate to lose her father as a child, and be compelled to rule in his stead, and how the years had tempered her dreams, and taught her sometimes brutality, the price of naivety. Though outwardly unscathed by her ordeal, it was wiser and more wary Nanamo who reclaimed the throne. Okay. So let's go back to Revenant's Toll. Let's talk to Elaine. Let's do that now. Never-ending quest. I guess the only people left to visit are the, like, Scions, I suppose. So there you are, Mithrie. Higiri told me of your pilgrimage. I knew it was only a matter of time before you sought me out. I too have been reflecting on the choices which shaped my path. When I took to the road with my grandfather, when I joined the Crystal Braves, when I tried and failed to warn you before the banquet. I had my suspicions about Wilred's death, that it was the work of a Garlean spy within our ranks, but I could not be sure who was involved. hence my desire to speak with you in private. I thought long and hard about how to approach you without arousing suspicion, mayhap too long. Eventually, I decided to arrange a meeting through Mistress Momodi. Little did I know that bastard